The Panaji Sessions Court dismissed anticipatory bail application of RSS leader Subhash Velingkar after protests had erupted over the remarks he made against St Francis Xavier, the patron saint of Goa. An FIR was registered against Velingkar for hurting religious sentiments, after which the accused filed the anticipatory bail, which now stands rejected. Members of the Christian community in Goa took to the streets calling for the arrest of the leader, who was the former Goa unit chief of the RSS.
I'm sure he will go to the higher courts as anybody would do. But it is now the duty of the police to immediately act in the matter and get him arrested for sure. Chosen not to appear before Petroleum Police Station or join investigation as far as that particular notice is concerned. The argument and we had stressed very categorically that a person who has chosen not to join investigation is defying law and defying the judicial process, and he should not be given any liberties of getting bail.
My colleague Radhika joins us on the phone line with more details on this. Radhika, what's the reaction of the Goa government and the police on this? Now, this is seems to be a very, very emotive issue playing out as far as the streets of Goa is concerned.
Absolutely, a very emotive and sensitive issue, and has become a political issue as well as far as Goa is concerned. Anticipatory bail application of Subhash Velingkar now rejected by Sessions Court in Goa. This after FIR was registered over controversial remarks made by Velingkar regarding Catholic missionary St Francis Xavier. It had obviously led to widespread protest by Christian community over the last 2 days. In fact, members of the Christian community in Goa taking to streets, blocking roads, highways. They also gathered outside police station calling for arrest of the RSS leader. He's also the former Goa unit chief of the RSS. A protest has spread across multiple areas in Goa, including Old Goa, Ponda, Anjuna, and protesters were also detained over the last couple of days. Velingkar had called for a DNA test of the relics of St Francis Xavier, who is revered as the patron saint of Goa, which led to a lot of outrage and outcry. Many complaints filed, FIR now registered. Velingkar, however, is absconding. He did not appear before the police despite summons. He applied for this anticipatory bail application. Now it stands rejected. Goa church authorities have called for peace while condemning the remarks and demanding strict action. Rahul Gandhi of the Congress party also weighing in fact, on X, he slammed the BJP for deliberately stoking communal tension and also saying that Goa's harmony is under attack. So certainly this has turned into a huge political row in Goa, Ankit, with people seeking Velingkar's immediate arrest.
Thank you so much for joining us with all those details. Radhika reporting on the story. Moving on to the conflict between Israel in Gaza also and now in Lebanon. Hezbollah rockets were launched and got past the Israeli air defense systems and landed in Haifa, port of Israel, the third largest city of Israel, causing damage to many buildings. IDF has claimed reports of ballistic missiles launched from Yemen into Tel Aviv, and they have said that in a wide air flight, 100 Air Force planes attacked more than 120 targets of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Air Force planes completed a large-scale aerial flight in southern Lebanon. A new round of airstrikes hit Beirut suburbs late on Sunday as Israel intensifies its bombardment of northern Gaza and southern Lebanon in a widening war with Iran-allied militant groups across the region. Israel is again accused of using white phosphorus on civilians in Lebanon, sparking global concern over the use of illegal weapons. Israel also has vowed to strike Iran after ballistic missiles attack on Israel last week. Mohammad Ghazali, my colleague, is in the heart of the action. He is at this moment reporting from Beirut, one of the key targets as far as Israel is concerned. Ghazali, just to bring our viewers up to speed with what's the situation at this moment, because Hezbollah is also claiming that they are ready for a ground offensive by Israel. They will in fact fight it out. What's the situation in Beirut and around?
See, Ankit, the situation is certainly not very unpredictable. It is very predictable because what happened since morning, while the mourners and the citizens there in the occupied territory of Palestine were mourning for October 7 attack, a barrage of rockets were fired from here, from Lebanon, from by Hezbollah, and which almost injured around 11 people in Haifa. And just a short while back, there were sirens across the central Tel Aviv because a ballistic missile was reportedly launched from Yemen, which was, whether it was intercepted or not, has not yet been confirmed by the forces there in the occupied territory of Palestine. But right now, what we're picking up is that the forces of occupied territory of Palestine are also saying that they will use the sea route the Navy will certainly attack towards the Lebanese territory because they've asked their own citizens to leave the beach area, the sea area, which connects Israel and the Lebanon. But also, right now, there is an eerie silence in the urban areas of Beirut because everybody is glued to the social media, to the news channels. Everywhere you see people, at least in the heart of the Beirut, in the urban areas, people are calm, but they know that what is happening in the surrounding areas of Beirut, in the southern Beirut, in the northern Beirut. They have seen attacks. Today afternoon, there was an aerial attack near the port in Beirut, which was perhaps a targeted killing of a Hezbollah militant group.
Okay.
So a very tense situation, and nobody knows that who will or what will bring this war to end, because all the parties out in this war are saying that they will escalate the situation only if the occupied territory of Palestine and its government stops the massacre in Gaza.
Mohammad Ghazali reporting there from Beirut. Thank you for joining us. Moving on, today marks a one-year anniversary of the October 7 attacks by Hamas on Israel that sparked an ever-widening conflict and changed West Asia forever. Israeli forces continue to bomb and displace the Palestinians in Gaza and recently launched a ground offensive in Lebanon against Hamas ally Hezbollah. This as Israel is also preparing its retaliation against Iran over a missile attack last week, raising fears of an all-out regional war.
As sirens rang across Israel at 6:29 a.m., with Israelis marking the one-year anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, the militant group launched fresh strikes at Tel Aviv as memorials mourned the victims of the deadliest attack in the country's history. Meanwhile, families of hostages still held in Gaza held a silent protest in front of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home. It was exactly a year ago that Hamas launched an unprecedented cross-border attack on Israel on various kibbutz and the Nova Music Festival, killing 1,200 Israelis and taking 250 hostages. Israel's subsequent retaliation triggered a year of devastation and turmoil across the region and the world. A week after Hamas's onslaught left Israel's defense in shambles, Israeli forces began bombing Gaza and limited ground operations into the region. Followed by a full-scale invasion into the region on 27th October, over two-thirds of Gaza has been destroyed since the war, including schools, hospitals, and more. The WHO reports that only 12 of the 36 hospitals in Gaza remain partially functional, leaving over 2 million Palestinians without access to proper health care. After a month of fighting, Israel and Hamas agreed to a Qatar and Egypt brokered temporary ceasefire on 24th November, the only ceasefire in the year-long war. During this 6-day truce, 105 hostages and 240 Palestinian detainees were freed, while several humanitarian aid trucks entered the Strip. The conflict resumed on 1st December, with the IDF launching their first big ground assault on southern Gaza on the outskirts of Khan Yunis. Roughly 6 months into the war, the region saw its first major escalations as tensions grew between Israel and Iran after Tel Aviv struck an Iranian embassy in Syria. Iran rained down missiles on Israel, its first attack targeting Israel directly from its own soil. Israel responded to the attack by striking an Iranian airbase. Perhaps the most consequential moment in the Israel-Hamas war apart from October 7th occurs. Israel kills Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh on a targeted strike in Tehran, shifting the war into a dangerous new phase. Last month saw the conflict expanding, with Israel now striking Lebanese militant group Hezbollah, targeting their pagers and radios and rigging them with explosives. In a further blow to the group, Hezbollah chief Nasrallah is killed in a barrage of Israeli strikes on Beirut.
In the past 365 days, more than 40,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza and thousands more in Lebanon, in a war that has changed West Asia forever. Only time will tell what lies ahead for the people of West Asia. Disha Bagchi for NDTV World.
Year after the Gaza conflict, the scars of the war are still raw, especially for the youngest victims. UNICEF estimates over 19,000 children are either orphaned or separated from their loved ones. These are not just statistics, but human cost of the war.
A year after the Gaza conflict, the scars of war are still raw, especially for the youngest victims. Thousands of children who possibly are unaware of the world beyond their own are now orphaned or separated from their parents and forced to face a tough new reality. In the war-torn streets of Khan Yunis, Naja Al-Ish, a 52-year-old woman, carries the weight of the world in her hands, her 4 orphaned grandchildren.
صحيح كانت سنة قاسية جدا علينا. خلفت لي 4 أيام، يعني أنا قد ما أعطيهم قديش أنا عمرها لقيت 52 سنة. يعني أنا جد خايفة عليهم، يعني من الحرب، من اللي هم فيه. يعني قد ما ربيت وعيشتهم وكبرت وعملت، يعني أنا مش عايشة لهم، مش ضايلة لهم. ما فيش في إيدي إشي أعمله يعني إلهم. يلا امشي أنت ويجي وراك يلا.
Every day is a battle of survival. In the sweltering heat, they haul heavy containers of water and stand in line for bread, their small hands carrying the burden of a childhood stolen by war. Naja's grandchildren are not the only one fighting through grief. In another corner of Khan Yunis, Amir and Fatima Ashur, aged 12 and 10, watch videos of their home being destroyed.
كل مواقف بتذكر، كلش بتذكر، مش قادر انساها. عشاني ما شفتهمش لما استشهد، ما شفتهمش انه وداهم.
Their parents and 5-year-old brother were killed in the strike. Their grandfather, Atta, now cares for them. But even his love cannot replace the words they long to hear. Mama and Papa.
اصطفاهم استشهد. أنا بفتخر إنهم استشهدوا. الحمد لله بفتخر إنهم استشهدوا. وأنا راضي في قضاء الله. الحمد لله.
Fatima misses the small things. The way her mother would comb her hair, dress her, and help her with her homework. She misses the laughter, the birthday parties, the moments that once made them feel whole.
أمي كانت المشرطة وتلبسنا وتعمل لنا كل حاجة. لما نروح بالمدرسة تقرينا.
Across Gaza, the numbers are staggering. UNICEF estimates that over 19,000 children are either orphaned or separated from their families. These are not just stats, but human cost of the war. These are lives, children forced to grow too fast, haunted by memories of a time when their world wasn't in ruins. NDTV Bureau Report.
Big day on October 8th as political parties and leaders wait with bated breath on the counting day. Who will rule Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir? With the ruling BJP in Haryana confident of retaining a 3rd term, can the Congress once again make a comeback? While in Jammu and Kashmir, pollsters predict a hung house, uncertainty looms over the political parties in Jammu and Kashmir.
पूरे देश की राजनीति में फ़र्क पड़ेगा। हरियाणा में कांग्रेस की प्रचंड जीत होगी, बड़ी जीत होगी, और कांग्रेस की जीत से मैं समझता हूँ पूरे देश के अंदर एक संदेश जाएगा। हुड्डा साहब ने बहुत मेहनत करी है और आज चुनाव में सभी का योगदान है। हुड्डा साहब का एक विशेष योगदान है जो आज चुनाव में कांग्रेस पार्टी का जो आज स्ट्रेंथ बनी है। और मैं समझता हूँ कि पूरे प्रदेश में आज चारों तरफ से जो माहौल बना है, हमारे केंद्रीय नेतृत्व का मैं धन्यवाद करता हूँ। विशेष तौर से राहुल गांधी जी का मैं धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि राहुल गांधी ने जब भारत जोड़ो यात्रा निकाली राहुल जी ने, उस समय कांग्रेस का माहौल बन गया। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हार रहेगी, भाजपा में सभी आगे।
Why not? What is wrong with it? We can be rivals in elections, but if the aim is the same, that we want the good of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, I'll have no objections, and I'm sure Congress will have no objections. What are we fighting for? For the good of the people. What are they fighting? For good of the people. So let's work together and try to remove all the tragedies that have occurred in the state for the last 10 years.
8 तारीख जब जम्मू कश्मीर में वोटों की गिनती होगी, मुझे विश्वास है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की शानदार जीत होगी और हमारा विश्वास है कि जनता के समर्थन से, जनता की सपोर्ट से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सपोर्टेड इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स और जो छोटे लाइक माइंडेड ग्रुप्स हैं जम्मू कश्मीर में, हम सब की जीत होगी और हमारी सरकार बनेगी।
Meanwhile, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and Civil Aviation Minister K. Ram Mohan Naidu met Union Minister Ashwani Vaishnaw also in the national capital. Slipping into a very short break at this moment. News and updates on the other side. Stay tuned. In a major development in the R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital rape and murder case in Kolkata, the CBI, which took over the investigation, has filed the first charge sheet. In its charge sheet before the special court in Kolkata, the CBI said Roy, who was working as civic volunteer with the local police, allegedly committed the crime on August 9. The agency did not mention the charge of gang rape, indicating Roy alone committed the crime. Now, the Trinamool Congress has claimed they have been vindicated as the Kolkata police arrested the accused the very next day and also said that he was the lone accused in the case. Meanwhile, the air show in Chennai ended in tragedy with 5 deaths and hundreds injured. Now, DMK MP Kanimoy today, in fact, said the deaths of 5 people due to suspected heat stroke after the Indian Air Force show in Chennai was very painful and unimaginable. In fact, the gatherings were unmanageable and should be avoided. In fact, now the air show was held to celebrate the Air Force 92nd anniversary, but what was intended to be a spectacle of military aviation ended in utter chaos.
From a spectacle at Chennai's famous Marina Beach to horror after 5 people died after the Indian Air Force's Chennai Air Show on Sunday, an event where the Indian Air Force aimed to set a world record by bringing together about 15 lakh spectators. After the show, around 1 p.m, it turned into a nightmare as the entire crowd moved to the main road with limited space, jostling inch by inch as they walked a few kilometers to access their vehicles, the metro and railway stations. They were left to fend for themselves with hardly any police presence for crowd and traffic management. With the temperature soaring and no water stations and first aid en route, more than 100 fainted due to dehydration and heat stroke. 7 are still in hospital. The key opposition, AIADMK, calls this incompetence by the ruling DMK.
While this government has shown utmost priority and importance to conduct a Formula 4 race car within the city limits, and when it comes to a common man's event, this is how the priorities are. Playing with the lives of common men has become the new norm for the DMK government because of the incompetence of MK Stalin.
Condoling loss of lives, Chief Minister MK Stalin said more than expected crowds had turned up, but claimed a stampede was avoided only due to his government's coordinated arrangements. Stalin attributed extreme heat and medical conditions for loss of lives. Tacitly taking on the Air Force, DMK MP Kanimoli in a statement said such unmanageable gatherings ought to be avoided in future.
So it's really a historic event. So the heat is the cause for the death. Everyone knows that. So doctor also given the same report. So nothing went wrong from the department side or from the Air Force department. So it's totally the climate drastic disaster.
The Indian Air Force is yet to comment on this. The larger question, should it have avoided its aggressive push to draw unmanageable crowds to set a world record? And will the state government learn lessons? On the Marina Beach in Chennai, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
That's all the time that we have in this bulletin. News and update continue on NDTV. Thank you so much for being with us.